Well, if you're like me, the main event isn't actually the game, maybe not even the commercials. It's probably the halftime show. This year is Bad Bunny, of course, which has been much talked about. It could end up being the most viewed ever. And Brooke DiPalma is here with me now as we look ahead to the big performance. You and I, being numbers girlies, right? We're interested in the music, of course, but we're also interested in the sort of halo effect and what the numbers are going to be around the Super Bowl halftime show and how many people are going to watch it, for example.
Yeah, and let's be honest, while you're actually watching the game, I mean, there's like a group of people who are eating the snacks. That's mostly me. And then when the Super Bowl comes on, we're running over to see the event. But take a look at how many, what artists actually have gotten the most attention. It was quite surprising. You think about how long this has been going on. You think about who's gotten the most viewership. It's actually most recent years. We have Kendrick Lamar last year, Usher and Rihanna. So really the most recent years.
Right.
But then surprising to me, about 11 years ago, Katy Perry, and before that, Lady Gaga. So it's interesting to see that it's not just the most recent, so maybe viewership numbers going up, but also standouts like Katy Perry and Lady Gaga.
Well,
now, the expectations are high for Bad Bunny.
And I wonder, though, like, is it just the most viewed games that end up having the most viewed halftime shows?
Yeah, like, how do you know how many physical people are actually tuned in during those moments?
Right, because it's not like you're watching the game and you turn it off if you don't want to watch the halftime show.
It stays on.
And conversely, if you're not watching the game, do you try and time it and turn on the halftime? I think there probably are some people who do that.
I'll admit, sometimes I did that.
I was actually talking to one of our makeup artists this morning who is a Bad Bunny fan, and we were sort of Googling, trying to game out when the halftime show was going to hit.
Ooh, like the exact timing.
Because,
that could be a bet in itself.
8:30 was the estimate.
Right.
And so if you're not watching the game, apparently that's when you want to turn it on.
All right.
Did you know that when artists play the Super Bowl, they do not get paid for that gig, which is
the amount
kind
of time and effort that they probably put into this?
Right, but they get paid in other ways, right?
Okay.
So take a look at some of the streaming bumps that we have seen people get in the past. And this is sort of around the performance, in some cases leading up to and then after.
Because you want to like get to know the songs before.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Especially with Bad Bunny, I'll admit.
Yeah, you and I
practicing.
You and I are like glued to Duolingo to try and learn Spanish in the next few days before this happens. But so we've seen, huge multi-100% bumps for these artists, which is also interesting. And in some cases, they get a bump for tours as well. For Bad Bunny, the bar is already high, because if you looked at his touring numbers for 2024, for example, and he's still on tour now, I mean, his tour is huge. In 2024, $211 million is what that tour grossed. More than 750,000 people or tickets were sold to that. So, and they were already, the average ticket price was nearly $300. So he was already getting those kinds of grosses. Actually, after the Super Bowl, the following Friday, a week from today, he's going to be in Buenos Aires, resuming his tour, South America, Australia, and then to Spain.
Yeah, and contractually, I believe that he hasn't been able to do performances leading up to this halftime show. At least on the Grammys on Sunday night, that was like sort of a bit leading into that.
Right, exactly. That makes sense, that the NFL wants to guard their eyeballs for their
exactly.
big show.
Just wait, let it all build up.
Yeah.
But think about this, Julie. When you think about the odds of how exactly this will not just play on the night of the Super Bowl, but then, of course, now we can stream it on YouTube after.
Yeah.
So when you think about the betting odds, according to Polymarket, about 11% chance. The odds here are about 11% chance that this will become YouTube's most viewed halftime show on YouTube. So sort of the betting odds getting in on this to try to understand what are the implications after the Super Bowl when it comes to the most viewed. We were just watching Katy Perry's 2015 performance. You can tune back into Lady Gaga, Kendrick Lamar, and others. So right now the odds are saying that this will actually not be one of them. It's about 90 cents you give out on it that it will not be the case. That'll be the most viewed after. But
well,
the amount of attention this got, I'm surprised to see this.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not versus other halftime shows, though. It's versus any YouTube video. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see about that. But as we know, people love their prop bets and betting on everything. So they're also betting on things like, what songs is he going to perform? Again, I can't claim to be, very super familiar with his oeuvre, right? With all of his songs. I like them. I will be dancing during the halftime show. But these are some of the songs that people are betting on.
And a lot of these, like Titi Mi Pregnuto, if I said that right, apologies if I did not, but this is one of his earlier songs in 2022. The first two are his 2025 songs.
Right.
So some of his newer albums just goes to show that for years, he's sort of been building up to this moment with many of these songs well known among not only the Latin American community, but also among so many viewers.
Right, and apparently La Mudanza got my intel from that same makeup artist who was a fan of his, is a big sort of love letter to Puerto Rico. And so the bets on that are that he would play it, sort of playing up his heritage, right? And a call out to Puerto Rico, where he also did huge shows.
Yeah, those were big numbers.
Exactly.
Let's break that down. If you think about his Puerto Rico residency, it was about 31 shows, a 30-day residency, from what I understand. And $11 million in ticket sales. Not quite Taylor Swift's Eras tour, as people like to compare every tour to.
No, but this was
instrumental.
That was in one place.
Yes, absolutely amazing. Blow away bonker numbers. $200 million in direct impact on the economy. But then also, you heard about all these other implications of local artists getting into their recording studios, local bookstores, even real estate agents said that this bumped up people wanting to move to Puerto Rico.
Cool.
So really, a huge impact. I'm excited to watch.
I like Bad Bunny better than Taylor Swift. Don't at me. Thank you, Brooke. Appreciate it.